compared to this incredible bull market that the US stocks have been on for all these years, things don't look very good. And when things don't look very good, gold is the answer.
I'm here at PDAC 2016 with Gwen Preston, the resource maven. Gwen, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You spoke today at the conference. Can you give us our viewers a few talking points?
Absolutely, yeah. So really what I was talking about is gold has made this incredible move to start 2016. So why is that? I believe that that's sustainable. I believe we've started a new gold bull market. So why? And the reasons distill down to that there's really eroding confidence in currencies, in central banks, that one's really important, in markets and market valuations, and in economic prospects. So you can break all of those down a lot, but one example would be central bankers have basically, the markets have become addicted to stimulus, to central banking moves. The correlation there is incredibly strong over the last 6 years. The Bank of Japan, at the end of January, went to negative interest rates. The reason they did that was to weaken the yen to give their domestic exporters an advantage, except that the yen then strengthened 6%. That's a problem. Then the markets have to start reflecting real economic realities, and those aren't great. You have oil that's really struggling and all of the spillout effects from that. You have an EU crisis in refugees and in banking that is getting very strong. You have these currency wars that are having spillover effects in lots of ways. You have quarterly earnings in America that have now been down year over year for 3 quarters in a row, which is usually something that portends a recession to come.
You're certainly painting a rosy picture for gold, a bullish picture for gold. What can investors do to prepare? What should investors be doing right now?
That's a really good question. So it's one thing to be bullish on gold. It's another thing to actually have a plan for what to do with that bullish perspective. So my take on that is have a wish list of stocks. Go out there and figure out which stocks do you want to have in your portfolio if gold is going to go on a 3-year run. And then runs, bull markets are made of higher highs and higher lows. Pullbacks are part of the process. So wait for pullbacks and position, buy into stocks on those pullbacks. When you're making that wish list, I also expect 1 or 2 of those pullbacks to happen before the end of summer. So they're coming. When you're making that wish list of stocks, the other important thing is there's certain mining stocks that have performed incredibly well over these first few months of 2016. And that's great. I love to see doubles because we haven't seen that in our industry in far too long. But don't only buy those assets, which are the best majors and the best mid-tiers and the really good development projects. They're important to have in your portfolio, but don't forget about the stocks that will perform a little bit later in the cycle, because they also start to rise now. The exploration stocks, the royalty companies, the prospect generators, they also start to rise now. And you can't predict when news flow events might shoot one of them up. Deals are happening. Takeovers are happening. The M&A activity is very active right now. So it only makes sense to position in these companies now because some of them will shoot up based on news in the fairly short term. And if you have a longer term perspective, they will all start to go because that's the nature of a bull market.
Do you have any companies on your wish list, Gwen?
I have a long wish list, but I can certainly mention a couple. On that top tier level, so like the production side of things, I'm a big fan of Newmarket Gold. So they're a newer gold producer, having acquired 3 mines that are in Australia. They're a very low cost miner, but really importantly, they've made discoveries at each of those mines since taking them on. So Newmarket is a really good one. I also have B2 Gold, which is a big one. Very healthy production profile going forward, well-controlled costs. I think that they are really well positioned for a movement in gold. I mentioned to not forget about the exploration companies. There's quite a few there that I'm really interested in. Orin Resources is one that I would put on that list. So they have a really interesting gold exploration project in Nunavut, but I know they're also out there looking for other assets to acquire. So that's a play on a management team and an exploration angle that I think has good odds of success. And I'm also, just to put it out there, don't forget about other commodities. I'm also quite bullish on uranium, and NextGen Resources or NextGen Energy, pardon me, is really, the discovery that they've made at Arrow is phenomenal. It is perhaps the best uranium discovery. It's among the best uranium discoveries that's ever been made, and they've done it in the space of 18 months, and it's a real stock to watch.
Gwen, where can our viewers go to learn more from you?
Sure. So Resource Maven is my website. It's resourcemaven.ca. I publish a weekly newsletter that you can try for free on the site for a little while and then subscribe to. And all my information's there, all my background, and my take on how this all works.
Thanks again for joining us today, Gwen.
Thank you for having me.
For SmallCapPower, I'm Angela Harmantis.